All right, Mohammed, let's just jump right into it because this whole Epstein situation, it keeps on giving, doesn't it? The latest, this birthday book from his estate, right? And it seems to suggest Donald Trump's name is all over it. In a way, he really denied.
Absolutely, Michael. It's truly incredible. You know, when that document was turned over by the Epstein estate to the Oversight Committee, it really it caused quite a stir, and rightfully so. We're talking about this infamous birthday book, which it actually contains a letter, and this letter, according to the Wall Street Journal, it's shaped, believe it or not, like a woman's body, and it has this incredibly suggestive poem, and it's signed unequivocally Donald J. Trump. So it's not just a passing mention; it's a direct, undeniable link right there.
Wow, a poem shaped like a woman's body. I mean, that's incredibly disturbing imagery right there. What exactly does this poem say, and how does it tie into everything we already know about Trump's relationship with Epstein?
Well, it's very unsettling. The poem itself, it has lines like, "There must be more to life than having everything," and then later, "Enigmas never age." Have you noticed that? Which, is just deeply creepy in context. And then there's another line, "A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. May every day be another wonderful secret." It's just so loaded, Michael. Given Epstein's known activities and Trump's previous just outright denials about his involvement or even visiting Epstein's island, it directly contradicts everything he's ever said about his relationship there. It's quite damning evidence, I must say.
So when you say enigma, never age, and then happy birthday, may every day be another wonderful secret, those phrases, I mean, they stick with you, don't they? Like, what do you think that specific line about enigmas never age is actually trying to imply, given everything?
It's pretty chilling, actually. The host in the video even mentioned that, the body of a woman in the poem seemed like a young woman. And when you pair that with enigmas never age, it almost, it implies a certain predatory sentiment, doesn't it? It's like referring to someone as timeless, perhaps, in a very twisted way. Or maybe even it hints at a knowledge of these secrets that bypass natural aging, It's really dark, and it certainly doesn't help Trump's narrative that he was unaware of Epstein's activities or that their relationship was purely innocent. It screams complicity, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a very unsettling interpretation. And then the fact that Trump publicly denied writing anything, saying someone could have used his name. But now we have this document from the estate directly contradicting him. It's just another layer a layer of untruth, right?
Precisely. It just completely unravels his previous statements. He literally, he told reporters, "I never went to the island. I don't even know what they're talking about." And then he threw in that line, "Somebody could have written a letter and used my name." But now that the Epstein estate has actually turned this over to the Oversight Committee, and it's right there with his very distinct signature at the bottom, it leaves no room for doubt. It's not someone else's name. It is, in fact, his. And it speaks volumes about his truthfulness on this matter.
Okay, so if the letter wasn't damning enough, there's also this new report about a payment, right? I heard it was like $22,500 for a depreciated young woman. Can you even begin to unpack that for me, Mohammed?
Oh, Michael, this is where it gets even darker. So yeah, this is from the updated report, right? And it directly appears from the birthday book that Donald Trump, he paid Jeffrey Epstein $22,500. And the description for this payment, in quotes, is "a fully depreciated young woman." I mean, the language itself is absolutely chilling. Depreciated, it's dehumanizing. it suggests, well, it suggests a transactional nature, like property. And the host in the video, she speculated that depreciated could mean the woman wasn't as young as she originally was, or maybe she'd been used. It's just horrific, truly horrific.
I mean, depreciated, that's a term you'd use for like a car or something inanimate, not a human being. And then there's a picture of the check signed by him. Like this isn't circumstantial. This is pretty direct, isn't it?
It really is. And it's a picture of the actual check signed by Donald Trump, and it's being held by Jeffrey Epstein. It's tangible evidence, Michael, not just speculation or a rumor. And this kind of evidence, it really highlights the depth of the depravity and the level of Trump's involvement, which he has consistently denied. It's not just a lie about a letter. It's a lie about a payment for something unspeakable, really.
So putting all these pieces together, the birthday book, the letter, the payment, the specific language used, how does all this fundamentally challenge Trump's long-standing narrative and his attempts to just, distance himself from Epstein?
Well, it utterly demolishes it, frankly. For years, Trump, he flat out denied any meaningful connection to Epstein. He told people he didn't even know what they were talking about regarding the island, or he'd say, "Oh, someone just used my name." But now, with the Epstein estate handing over these documents to the Oversight Committee, we see just undeniably that these denials are just, well, they're simply lies. The letter, the signature, the check, they all point to an intimate and disturbing relationship. This isn't just about knowing Epstein. This is about being, well, deeply entangled in his heinous network. It's a pattern of deceit, really, that we've seen so many times before.
And the fact that it was the Epstein estate that released these documents, not the Department of Justice, which is also interesting, right? Like, why wouldn't the DOJ have released this earlier if it was, so clear?
That's a very astute point, Michael. The Department of Justice is, they're still dragging their feet. They're still not responding to congressional subpoenas. And this raises serious questions about transparency and accountability within the federal system itself, The fact that the Epstein estate had to be the one to turn this over, it suggests a reluctance or even an intentional cover-up within official channels. It's like certain powerful entities are, they're still trying to protect people, which it's incredibly concerning for the integrity of our justice system. And it just highlights the need for continued public pressure on these matters.
It's just so gross, Mohammed. The host, she actually mentioned the parallels to a sex cult, and it's just such a strong, disturbing image. Can you expand on that, on why this connection feels so relevant here?
Yes, absolutely, Michael. The host, she hit the nail on the head. This isn't just, it's not just about one individual's deplorable actions. It's about a systemic issue, a dark underbelly that often thrives in cult-like environments. You look at NXIVM or historically, like the Mormon Church 50 years ago with its books for women, or the ongoing scandals in the Catholic Church, Ohio State Wrestling, the Southern Baptists, even the Boy Scouts. The common thread in all these cases is the exploitation of children and women. It's a power dynamic where the vulnerable are absolutely preyed upon, and this Epstein scenario, it just fits that pattern. It's a sex cult essentially, where powerful individuals use their influence to abuse and to cover up abuse.
And the idea that this is happening at such high levels that it's like controlling the U.S. government, as she put it, that's a terrifying thought, right? Like it's not just a fringe issue; it's something deeply embedded. It sounds like.
It really is, Michael. When a sitting president is directly linked to such a horrific individual, and then we see efforts to conceal it, it absolutely undermines the very fabric of governance. It suggests that our institutions are not just, well, they're not just failing to protect the most vulnerable, but they are actively complicit in covering up these heinous crimes. The host was right. Our government, well, it begins to look like a joke that it covers up child sex crimes. And this isn't a partisan issue. It's a moral crisis that should outrage everyone, regardless of their political leanings.
So let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell for a second, because the host mentioned her and how Trump wishes her well. Then this idea that she might have been the source for the Wall Street Journal story, kind of like a warning shot. What's your take on that theory, Mohammed?
It's a fascinating and very plausible theory, Michael. Ghislaine Maxwell, she was the key enabler, the one who procured these young women for Epstein. And if she felt like she was she was being abandoned or that her conditions in prison were unacceptable, she would have immense leverage. You know, it's logical to think she might send a warning shot via her lawyers, perhaps leaking information to the press to say, listen to me, move me, or I'm going to whistleblow on the whole thing. And it seems Trump actually accepted a lot of lying from her as justification to move her to a different prison, so she wouldn't do exactly that, right? He tried to appease her because he knew what she had on all these powerful individuals, including himself. It's a classic move in criminal enterprises where you keep your co-conspirators quiet by offering them something in return.
So if that's the case, then it really underscores how deeply compromised so many people are, right? Like, this isn't just about a few bad actors. It's a vast network, and they're all trying to protect each other, it sounds like.
Absolutely, Michael. It's a web, a very intricate web, you know, and the fact that Trump wishes her well, that's not just a benign comment. It implies a continued allegiance, a shared understanding, a desire to keep secrets contained, and this extends beyond just Maxwell, of course. It's about a history of elites protecting their own self-interests, you know, whether it's the Catholic Church or high-profile politicians. They circle the wagons to protect their own, even when it involves truly abhorrent behavior. It's the dark side of power when the powerful believe they are above the law.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit to the response from Trump's biggest supporters, Caroline Leavitt, J.D. Vance. They're calling this fake news, a Democrat Epstein hoax. Like, what does that response tell you about the current state of political discourse and morality, actually?
It's a complete moral collapse, Michael. It truly is. When you have Caroline Leavitt, who is a mother, mind you, wearing a cross around her neck, completely dismissing undeniable evidence as fake news, it speaks volumes about the level of cognitive dissonance. You know, and J.D. Vance repeating these talking points, they're essentially saying, we don't care about the victims, we don't care about the facts, we only care about protecting our guy. It's a chilling display of political tribalism, trumping basic human decency and morality. They're so deeply entrenched in this cult of personality that they simply they cannot or will not see objectively. It's truly sickening.
So if they're willing to dismiss like a literal signed check and a letter shaped like a woman as fake news, then what does that say about their ability to process any kind of objective truth, really? It feels like we're in different realities sometimes, right?
We absolutely are, Michael. It's a complete moral depravity. The fact that they're debating whether Trump's ridiculous signature is authentic or not, it's just ludicrous. Anybody with a set of eyes can tell it's his. And this selective outrage, this cherry picking of what constitutes truth based on political allegiance,
it's incredibly dangerous for a democracy. It's a clear indication that a significant portion of the electorate, they are so short-sighted, so deeply entrenched in their worship of Donald Trump that they will sacrifice everything just to own the libs. That's how shallow they are. It's a systemic problem of moral erosion, truly, where facts and decency are just, they're just casualties.
You know, this reminds me of something the host said about bad parenting in motion and how these MAGA voters, they're like essentially normalizing child exploitation. Can you explain that analogy more? Because I found it pretty powerful.
Yes, Michael, it's a powerful analogy because it gets to the heart of the matter. Bad parenting in motion is it's allowing clear moral transgressions to go unchecked, to even be celebrated simply because the perpetrator is your guy. You know, this woman, Caroline Leavitt, she's a mother, but she can't stand up for other children because she's too busy bullying gay children, you know, people that are gender fluid. This kind of behavior, it's not just a political stance, it's a moral failure. It's a form of child exploitation in motion because by excusing this kind of behavior, they are teaching their own children and the children of others that morality is it's negotiable, that power it can buy immunity, and that truth is whatever serves their narrative. It's creating a generation that is morally adrift, really.
And the irony is that many of these same people they'll often criticize others for moral failings, but when it's their side, it's suddenly excusable, it seems.
Exactly. It's the ultimate hypocrisy. They are so used to making excuses for this guy's moral failings, and these are the same people who in Florida, they're saying don't vaccinate your kids. They're undermining public health, rejecting science, and promoting conspiracy theories, all under the guise of freedom or protecting values. But what values are they actively protecting when they're actively enabling child predators and dismantling institutions? It's a sick worship, a cult of personality that has completely warped their moral compass.
Mohammed, this discussion, it just keeps circling back to this idea of a moral collapse. Like it's more than just politics. It's about something deeper, right? How would you articulate the full extent of this moral collapse that we're witnessing?
Michael, it's profound. This isn't just a political disagreement. No, it's a systemic failure, a complete surrender of objective truth and fundamental human decency. The moral collapse is when a large segment of society, they become incapable of discerning right from wrong, especially when it involves their chosen leader. They actively ignore or rationalize clear evidence of pedophilia, racism, sexism, and attacks on democratic institutions. It's not just a lack of moral judgment, it's an active embracing of depravity, all in the service of maintaining power or simply to own the other side. This is bad parenting in motion on a national scale, where the most egregious offenses are dismissed with a wave of the hand or twisted into fake news. It's absolutely terrifying to witness.
So what do you think is the ultimate end game here? If this kind of moral collapse just continues unchecked, like what does that mean for society, for democracy?
If this continues, Michael, the end game is, it's very bleak. It's the complete dismantling of democracy itself. It's a society where justice is no longer blind, where the rule of law is arbitrary, and where the most vulnerable are left utterly unprotected. It's a country that is compromised from within, an enemy from within, as the host put it,
where truth is irrelevant and loyalty to a figurehead replaces all civic duty and moral obligation. We risk becoming a nation where the very foundations of ethical governance have crumbled. It's a future where moral relativism, well, it becomes the absolute standard, and that's a dangerous place to be for anyone.
That's a pretty sobering outlook, Mohammed. I mean, given the depth of this moral collapse, as you put it, what do you see as the actual path forward for accountability and for just like restoring some semblance of moral integrity, actually?
Well, Michael, it's not going to be easy, but it has to start with truth. We need relentless pressure for full transparency, for the Department of Justice to release everything they have, not just what the Epstein estate leaks. We need independent investigations without political interference to expose every individual involved, regardless of their status or political affiliation. And then we need consequences, real consequences, for those who are found to be complicit, for those who enabled, those who abused, and those who covered up. It has to be a societal reckoning where we as a people, we collectively reject this moral depravity. It's a long fight, really, against this deep-seated corruption.
And what about the role of the public in this? The voters who are still standing by Trump. Like, how do you even begin to reach them and get them to understand the gravity of all this?
That's the hardest part, Michael. It requires a willingness to engage, but also to hold firm on universal moral principles. It's not about changing minds overnight, but it's about consistently presenting facts, highlighting the human cost of these actions, and appealing to a shared sense of right and wrong that should transcend political loyalties. It's about refusing to normalize the abnormal, to relentlessly call out hypocrisy, and to demand better from our leaders and, well, from ourselves. It's a marathon, not a sprint, Michael. But we can't afford to give up the fight. Not for the future of our children or for the integrity of our nation, right?
Mohammed, this has been an incredibly sobering yet vital discussion. It's clear the fight for accountability and moral integrity is far from over. What's one final message you'd like to leave our listeners with as we wrap up today?
Michael, my message is this. The public cannot afford to be complacent. This is not just a political scandal. It's a moral battle for the soul of our nation. We must remain vigilant, demand transparency, and hold all individuals, regardless of their power, accountable for their actions. The future of our democracy and the safety of our most vulnerable depend on it.
A powerful and clear call to action, Mohammed. It truly underscores that this is a collective responsibility, not just for those in power, but for every citizen to engage and ensure the truth prevails.
Precisely. It is a marathon, and the stakes could not be higher. We must continue to push back against the normalization of such depravity for the sake of future generations.
Indeed. Dr. Mohammed Hassan, thank you once again for your invaluable insights today. It's been an enlightening, albeit heavy, conversation. Mohammed, as we bring this intense discussion to a close, I want to reiterate how critical these conversations are for our audience. Your analysis has been, as always, incredibly insightful, even when the topics are deeply unsettling.
Thank you, Michael. It's crucial that we keep these issues in the public discourse. The fight for truth and accountability is ongoing, and it requires constant vigilance from everyone.
Absolutely. And that vigilance extends to supporting independent journalism that isn't afraid to tackle these complex and often disturbing subjects. Our commitment remains to bring these vital stories to light.
Indeed, awareness is the first step towards change.
We must empower people with the facts to truly make a difference.
Precisely. And on that note, to our valued listeners, thanks for joining us and continue to support our channel. And we'll see y'all later.